On today's Transport Evolved, we cold weather test the 21 Tesla Roadster Sport 2.5 and prove that electric vehicles can drive in cold weather. The first ever production Chevrolet Volt is auctioned off for charity and is currently sitting at $180,000. Nissan announces its UK Leaf dealer network, and I get to choose my dealer. Mitsubishi I has become the best-selling EV in the world, at least for now. And we talk about supercapacitors, PIA's latest PSA, and a Smart for 2 EasyBrid. Coming up next on Transport Evolved. Transport Evolved is sponsored by owning an electric car. All you need to know about owning an electric car. www.owningelectriccar.com. And also sponsored by audiblepodcast.com. To claim your free audiobook from a selection of over 85,000 titles for your iPod or MP3 player, head to www.audiblepodcast.com/Transport Evolved. It's time to evolve your transport. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode number 27 of Transport Evolved for Thursday, 2nd of December, 2010. My name is Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and as usual, I'm here at the tail end of the week to give you the latest rundown on what's been going on in the world of alternative fuels, but mainly electric vehicles. And for the first time, I think, in absolutely forever, I've got the same guest on 2 weeks running. Not because we can't get rid of him, but because he wants to be on. And also he's helping us out because I don't know what it is, whether it's post Thanksgiving or it's just people getting tired. Everyone's busy today. So either that or they're telling me my show sucks. I'm not sure which it is. So joining me again, Mr. Michael Thwaite. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Nikki? How's things? How are you enjoying that snow?
Yeah. Rub it in, don't you? For those of you who are not watching, in the UK, who are listening further afield, you may not know that we've had some of the coldest temperature. In fact, we have had the coldest temperature in the UK in November for years and years and years, decades, in fact. And most of the UK, 99.9% of the UK, is covered in a thick blanket of snow. In fact, there are several feet of snow. There is several feet of snow in most places in the UK. I live in Bristol, the southwest of England. The very southwest of England have had snow. The south of England have had snow. Wales, just across the river from us, they've had snow. Scotland's had snow. East Anglia's had snow. London's had snow. The Midlands have had snow. Bristol, no snow. I had some snow last Friday when I was doing a cold weather testing article on the Tesla. But if I had to go and find snow if I needed it, it snowed a bit that weekend, and we had a little bit of lying snow for about half a day, and then it cleared up again. Boo.
So how was the Tesla in the snow then? Did it work?
Yeah, let's go to that article. All
right, Governor.
I don't know where that came from. But before we do, if you want to take part in the show, what you need to do is point your browser at www.transportevolved.com/live. And you'll see there that there's a chat room. You can join in and take part in the show. And any questions you can pose to us live there on the show. Do join in because it's good fun. So yes, this week I had a 2011 Tesla for the weekend with the sole purpose of cold weather testing it. Now, as you all know, I write for allcarselectric.com. So this is one of my articles on allcarselectric.com. Electric cars can't handle cold weather. Myth busted. Now, as you can see there is a picture of a Tesla Roadster and there is snow. Not very much snow, but in the article, we talked about the temperature. Now, the temperature is the really important thing because it went down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, well below that at one point, which for the UK is incredibly cold. Really is. I mean, we don't normally get much below freezing. So this is significantly lower than freezing with a significant wind chill. The car was not garaged for the entire weekend. I just kept it charged at home using a 32 amps socket I have on the outside of the house. And I think I did about 450 miles, a little bit more than 450 miles over the course of the weekend. No perceptible drop in range, no perceptible drop in performance, and no problems when it came to handling either. In fact, the only time I got it to lose control was to go to a car park early one morning when there was sheet ice in the parking lot and turn the traction control off. It has it not, Michael?
It's caused a bit of a flame war.
A bit of a flame war on the internet.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, a great article. And I think one of the comments that was on the Twitterverse from Kevin Sharp, who was with us last week, was absolutely fantastic. He said, watch out. The oil industry is a dying animal. It's sick, it's dying, and it's going to bite. And I thought, yeah, that was perfect. But I thought the article was good. I mean, you took a car and you took a real world situation and you just said, okay, it's just working like a regular car. And that was what it did. Do you remember maybe a year ago, Elon Musk had some sort of had some critical comments to make about the Leaf and its air cooled battery. I think he referred to it as a sort of very simple technology compared to the Tesla. When the Tesla was being constructed, they did an awful lot of road testing in all kinds of different weathers, just like you'd do a regular car. And there's some great footage on the Tesla site, actually, of them testing it on ice and in desert temperatures, just to make sure that the thing works. And you kind of proved that, I guess.
Well, I think the funny thing is, I'm just watching some of these comments now on Dig, because we got Doug. The first one is... and who can doubt all cars electric on the subject? In other words, well, you've got an axe to grind. It's not like they've got an axe to grind or anything. Well, no, but come on. We're an electric car information site. We are going to try and prove that electric cars can do things that people say they can't do. Firstly. Secondly, we weren't being paid by Tesla. It's not an advertising gimmick or anything like that. We had the car. There was bad weather. Two things go together. And you go, yeah, fair enough. Then someone else says, they sure are Mythbusters, Mythbuster fans. This is why they tested one car on one trip and decided it was enough to make a conclusion about all electric cars.
Yeah, but you made that conclusion based on a lot more than one trip and one day. I mean, I think we've all, particularly on Tesla forums, we've all chit-chatted about how the Tesla works in cold weather and how it just keeps on working. So,
This is a funny one, though. Someone said that's like saying that because we find one unicorn, it's invalid to conclude that unicorns exist until we have a lot of unicorns. To disprove a hypothesis, e.g., unicorns don't exist, or electric cars can't function in cold weather, you only need one example.
That's okay. I got a unicorn in the basement, so they exist. Yeah, everyone knows unicorn exist. Come on.
If you haven't seen yet, what's the name of the film with the unicorn? It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die! Agnes. In Despicable Me. It's at the cinemas at the moment. Despicable Me. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It's by, this same animation house. I think it's Pixar that do all the fun films around this time of year. So yeah, bit of flame war going on there.
Love it. Join everybody. Great,
but we got lots of hits, so I'm not complaining.
Certainly should, yeah, because that's what it's all about, getting the message out. It's time to poke and prod this dying beast that is oil, and let's get a reaction, because every time there's a reaction, that gives us a chance to jump in and counter it with those strange things that sometimes seem to elude people, like facts.
Yes, that happens quite a lot. Okay,
yeah.
News story just breaking today, which I don't think you will have seen yet. She says, going online, because I wrote it this morning. The Pope's going electric.
Cool. So he should. Himself or just his transportation?
I think maybe he's going electric in his transportation.
An electric Popemobile, is that what we're saying?
An electric Popemobile, yep.
Oh, right.
Electric Popemobile.
Oh dear.
Now,
who designed that, and why did they do that to it?
Well, no, that's the regular Popemobile, which is a Mercedes SUV. It's an M-Class SUV. Now, I was saying that something like a Nissan Leaf or Chevrolet Volt, it's not going to be any good as a Popemobile, is it?
Not really. Not without some serious adjusting.
A, going to have enough power, and B, it's not going to be big enough. So this is the challenge.
Not going to have enough power
to carry all the heavily armoured. I mean, it's 1 inch thick, 3-inch thick glass, I think, 1 inch of steel reinforcement, thick steel reinforcement, so it's bulletproof. That's the specs of the M whatever it is, M3 series. The M series, M class Mercedes. Right. I'm getting tired. It's does 17 UK miles a gallon, which is what, 15 miles to the US gallon.
Thereabouts, yeah, absolutely.
It has a top speed of 160 miles an hour.
What? 160?
Apparently.
Yeah. Really? Well, with the box on the back and the Pope sat in it. I mean, what a fantastic vantage point. I mean, 160 miles an hour, and he's looking around like this. That's amazing.
I think that may have been a typo on the parts of the people I sourced it from, but I did double check it with several different places, and they said 160 miles an hour. So.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, one of the big M classes with is it like a 5-litre engine or something?
Yeah,
biggest. Yeah. Okay.
Quite powerful.
Yeah.
Built for the Autobahn.
Yeah.
It's not inconceivable.
I can't imagine what the handling's like, the cornering's like there, with all that weight up there, sort of thing. Yeah. Hold on, you pontiff, or whatever it is. We're going to make a corner.
Yes. We've probably offended lots of people now.
God.
But yes. So I can't think of any SUVs that would be suitable size. The only thing I can think of is quite possibly something like the AMP, the conversion company.
Are they the guys who did the Range Rover in London?
No, but I forgot about those. They were Liberty. Yeah.
That's it. Those guys.
We could, yes, the Liberty electric vehicles. They could do those, couldn't they? Let's have a look at Liberty, because I think they would actually be quite a good conversion company. Now
they took if I remember this rightly, they took a Range Rover and they put something like 4 motors in it, one per wheel. It's a little bit sort of motor noisy kind of thing when they were driving it around, but they were kind of, I kind of rail against SUVs because I think it's a bit of a waste of precious resources.
Well, I've seen them before. So you mean these guys, don't you? Liberty electric cars.
I do. Yeah, those guys.
And they're I've met them. They're very keen.
Good. I mean, I guess if people are asking for SUVs, this is kind of a broader sort of issue. If people are saying, like, I really want an SUV, I guess better to give them an electric SUV than a gasoline-powered SUV. I mean, to my point, I think we should be electrifying more efficient cars like the Prius and more aerodynamic cars like the Volta's turned out to be, than a big SUV. But I suppose at the end of the day, if your goal is to cut carbon emissions, you have to give people the kind of technology, the kind of vehicles that they had before, or somehow work out how to educate them that they don't want one of those anymore.
Yeah.
I know.
This is going to be a fun show because I've got a cough and a hiccup. Just developed both. And so now if I speak, if there's long pauses, it's because I'm hiccuping. But I just think either His Holiness can go for a Liberty. I'd forgotten about those, or he could go for obviously this AMP. And the third choice is RAV4 EV.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Tesla powered RAV4 EV.
But this is the funny bit about the story: they won't buy one. The Vatican won't buy one. It has to be given to them.
Is that to do with it being a charitable organisation?
I don't know if it's something to do with the thing of the church. I don't know why, but that's what they've said. We'd like one, but someone has to give us one.
I think somebody will.
I think someone will. I don't see that being a problem.
Yep.
Certainly not. How are you on charity auctions, Michael?
I saw the details of the charity auction for the Volt and I was amazed. I mean, I guess that's great news. No doubt about it. I mean, that's a lot of money raised for charity. Good on them.
So let's kind of take a step back here because I've got it queued up here. Job 2, which was produced earlier on this week, is the second ever production Chevrolet Volt to roll off the production line. Okay. And the first one is off to a museum where they've got a lot of other GM firsts, like the EV1 and other vehicles like that of note, which is kind of funny because if I was the EV1, I'd sit there and go, you took your time, didn't you? Anyway, so job number one is never going to go into public service. It's never going to be driven other than by GM employees around the museum or whatever. It's never going to be sold. So job number two, which is actually the first production version of the Volt to be sold, is being sold off for auction. I watched the event live, and it was very bizarre. It was very much a GM pats its own back event. It went on for about 2 hours, and it was GM and GM executives going, wow, didn't we do well? And, you have to give it to them. They have done well. They've produced a really good car. It's won some significant awards this year. It is a monumental vehicle, regardless of whether you say it's a plug-in hybrid or not. My reaction to the Volt is if it gets people into driving an electric vehicle of some description, that's a good thing. And I think, if it gets people who wouldn't normally even look at an electric car and gets them driving it, well, hey, that's a good thing. So there was this big event. Everyone from board members to Governor Granholm of Michigan to shop workers on the floor, the production workers, all took a part. And the GM CEO drove number one onto the stage. And then later on, they drove number two onto the stage, and they said, "Yeah, we're going to auction this off for charity. All the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, will go to a schools fund in Detroit to raise funds for math and science in Detroit," which I think we both have to agree is a phenomenal thing to do, to raise money for the school system in the area where the car was built. It's kind of like the ultimate thank you, isn't it? They did the whole "children are our future" thing.
Yeah, and if you have the site up, what are they up to now? It was well over 100 a couple of days ago.
Well, I've just looked now. I mean, let's have a look. I was looking a few minutes ago. Earlier on today, it was up to 180.
Wow.
Yep, still is $180,000. If you want to bid there, go to bidonthevolt.com. It's up to $180,000.
I wish I had a better memory, because I wonder if they'll go the same route as there was an auction in New York City for one of the earlier Teslas, and it raised 160, and the guy basically turned around and gave it back to the auctioneers and said, "That's my contribution as well as my my payment," and they auctioned it again. So it'd be interesting, because obviously at 180, that's not the value of the car. Even I don't think from a collector's point of view, that's a commitment to the charity, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not go there. I've just sold. I can't really say much about it, how much or anything, so I don't want to talk about it. But I've just sold my Volkswagen back to Volkswagen. It certainly didn't go for $180,000.
I heard it went for a bit less, but
it was substantially less. But you know what? They're gonna let me go and have a look at it while it's being restored. They're gonna let me work on it. They're gonna let me, not work it, let me drive it when it's fully restored. And quite frankly, to restore my Volkswagen City Stromer, which it turns out is the only one left of the right-hand drives they built. They built 3, and I own 1, and I think the other 2 have been written off. To be the only owner of a car that unique is a horrible thing, because you don't want to drive it, you don't want to do anything to it, and it's been on my driveway broken for a year. To rebuild it properly would have cost me somewhere in the region of £10,000. I just don't have that money right now. Certainly not to buy a Leaf as well. So I've, said, okay, send it back to museum. At least that way the car survives. But yeah, you're quite right. I mean, £180,000 for a car. What could you buy for that? Isn't that Murcielago money?
Yeah, it is. Or it's a Tesla with absolutely everything on.
Really?
Yeah.
You could make a Tesla cost that much?
You can get to... Oh, yeah. No, whenever I have mine serviced or they come to sort of check out or update the software on it, a couple of times they've driven up to mine in a same color, but with all the carbon fiber bits and the fancy super lightweight wheels, a sport model. And we priced it out as like 164 or something by the time you thrown in some good bits. So if you keep going, I reckon you could hit 180 if you tried.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of coin.
That's a lot of coin, and I already feel guilty about making you want to buy a new car. So earlier on this week, there was a story about supercapacitors. Supercapacitor battery breakthrough beats batteries with graphene. This was on
this is this new
Green.
New substance they sort of discovered. I think it was 2005, 2006.
Yep.
Basically, one atom thick. They can make these sheets of superconductive, well, not superconductors, but very conductive sheets, and they've sort of rolled these up to make kind of the ultimate supercapacitor, or ultimate today anyway. But they reckon they've even got further to go with the energy density.
Now, do we think supercapacitors are going to take over from batteries? Because I'm still...
Yes.
Yeah? You think?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yes. I don't know. Sorry. Yes. In as much as a supercapacitor is different from a battery, a battery uses a chemical process to transition from one kind of substance to another kind of substance that they can then be reversed to release electricity. The supercapacitor is literally storing the electrons on a. I'm going to get shot by some physicists now. Storing the electrons on the actual device itself. So instead of sort of transforming thing from one thing to another thing and then transferring it back in a chemical reaction, the supercapacitor just stores the charge on the electrodes, the electrolyte inside. What's great about that is that in a lot of the applications of a lot of the designs of supercapacitors today, they can be charged really quickly, discharged really quickly. They don't really care much about heat, and they don't wear out. And obviously, that's exactly where we want to be headed. But I think in the short term, these supercapacitors have the ability to be used as a sort of transitional storage device between an electric car and its battery. So you can have a battery that produces a good amount of power, and you can have a supercapacitor sort of bolted alongside it. And then the supercapacitor can be charged by the battery and then used for short bursts, which is kind of nice for overtaking acceleration. But the best application, I think, is for regenerative braking. At the moment, when we do regen, it puts the power back in the battery, and it's another chemical reaction, and that's can sort of stress the battery, and you have these limitations of how much power the battery can take. So the supercapacitor doesn't have those limitations or practical limitations, and it's much more efficient. So it makes your electric car even more efficient, or even your hybrid even more efficient. So this piece of news to me was one of the best bits of news I've read in an awful long time. It's great stuff. This is sorry to ramble on about it.
No, seriously, because I haven't really looked into it. Obviously, I've done my physics A level, but it was a long time ago.
Right. I mean, but the thing, what's in my view, right, and this is my personal opinion, the supercapacitor is the kind of next giant project that governments, big organizations need to be, even oil companies need to be turning their attention to figure out how to make these work and how to make them work really, really well. Because it's one of those things that if we get this right, if we figure out this technology as fast as we possibly can, it's going to answer so many problems of energy storage that we have today. Solar panels on your roof not charging your battery at night, fixed. Excess power in the grid during the evening hours, fixed. Storage for wind powered systems that don't spin when the sun shines and there's no wind, that's all fixed. Storing power and accumulating power in countries where electricity isn't as third world countries where electricity isn't as easily found. You can solve a lot of these problems with this kind of technology. It's just amazing.
And on there, I think we should go to our Audible advert. So you've done Audible, haven't you?
I love Audible.
Yeah, audible.com.
They're great.
And I'm currently sort of halfway through Red Planet, which I listened to in the Tesla pretty much all the time I was test driving it. I had, far be it for this to be an advert about the Tesla. Tesla has a fairly nice stereo system once you learn how to use it. It's not the most intuitive. It's a Pioneer system. But anyway, you can play things through Bluetooth, and it's got an iPod dock. So I had my iPhone connected to it, and I was listening to Red Planet by, I can never remember the guy's name now who wrote it. But anyway, that's not this week's pick of the week. This week's pick of the week is one that Audible has been going on and on about this week. Metropolis Cascadia. And it would normally cost you sort of nearly $30, but you can get it free by signing up. If you go to www.audiblepodcast.com/transport evolved, and you can claim that free book there along with a free 30-day trial. Sorry, not 30-day trial, 14-day trial of the Audible service. Now, if you're like me and you go to audible.com, you will very quickly discover that, as it turns out, you will want to have that Audible. You'll want Audible every month, basically. You'll end up signing on, and that's the best way of doing it. www.audiblepodcast.com/transport evolved. Did I say tweet podcast earlier on? I think I may have done, but transport evolved. There's another couple of interesting stories this week that I want to talk to you about, Michael, but this one is a plug-in hybrid. This is something that caught my eye this week over at Autobug Green. Lorenza wheels out the Smart for 2 EasyBrid, a plug-in hybrid conversion. This is an aftermarket company. Aftermarket companies I'm not that much a fan of, but these guys are offering to turn your Smart for 2 into a plug-in hybrid.
That can't be a very easy thing to do. I mean, it's one thing to turn a petrol-powered car into an electric. You rip out the oily bits and you put the shiny new electric bits in. Take you an afternoon. But converting to a hybrid, that's got to be tricky.
Well, do you know how they're doing it? They're doing rear-wheel hub motors.
Hub motors. Okay.
So the Smart for 2 has disc brakes at the front and hub motors hub brakes at the back. Old-fashioned sort of drum brakes.
Right, that's 1967 British technology.
It is, isn't it? So it's got a hub-powered, an electric-powered hub wheel motor arrangement in the rear. These guys are claiming some really interesting performance figures, though. They really are. Yeah. I mean, they're saying 18.6 miles on electric-only power.
That's quite not bad. That's more than a plug-in Prius.
That's pretty good. Well, mine was a bit more than that, but then mine blew up. But it's not bad. As that kind of range goes, as that kind of performance goes.
Yeah, it's not bad. What about, do they give some figures on performance? I mean, I guess it's got to give an extra kick to the acceleration.
They don't, but they're saying more than 500 kilometers in combined hybrid mode.
Okay. And would this be, I guess, what you call a mild hybrid?
It's a mild hybrid, but it's on any, they're claiming it on any small vehicle. Now, there's a plug-in hybrid system in the States that already exists, which does a similar thing with vehicles that have rear-wheel drive transmission, but it has to be an automatic gearbox, and basically they shorten the prop shaft to the rear
motor,
to the rear wheels, and then put a motor in the middle, which has a shaft all the way through it. It's a warp. They call it a transwarp, I think. And then there's a little control box that sits on your car and turns your automatic car into a plug-in hybrid.
And I guess, like a mild hybrid, sort of helping and just adding a bit of extra, I guess, equivalent of sort of engine drag when you slow down.
But they've said it's going to be suitable for vehicles like the Volkswagen Polo, the Renault Twingo, and Fiat 500. As well as a smart car. Now, obviously, some of those vehicles aren't sold in the States. They're all sold in Europe. But, in terms of their range, something like the Smart for 2 is such a small car. I can't see that conversion being of any use. Smart are building an electric car at the moment and are planning to launch it at some point. And I can't understand why you just wouldn't go completely electric at that point. But there we go.
I guess one question I have that I've never had a good answer to is how much does the hybrid system contribute to the efficiency of the car? I guess what I'm saying is when you look at most hybrids, I mean, everything from, the old, the first sort of Toyota Priuses, the original Honda Insight, they all start on a lightweight car with super efficient tires and super efficient aerodynamics. And then they turn in really good fuel economy figures. And they go, well, look at our hybrid, it's great. What I want to know is how much does the hybrid contribute to that advantage? In other words, is it adding me 2 or 3 miles to the gallon? Is it adding me 10 miles to the gallon? What is it? And if it's not much, which I kind of suspect it isn't as much as we think, how efficient would a Prius be without a hybrid? And then looking at this Smart for 2 with the hybrid added, how big an improvement does adding a hybrid to, what's not the world's most aerodynamic car, I'm guessing, because of its shape. But, how much benefit does it really add?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It really is. But there we go. I don't know if we can say for sure. But here's wrong button. Here's a story for you this week. What's the most highest selling vehicle around at the moment? Electric vehicle.
The highest electric vehicle. I think it might possibly be the Mitsubishi i-MiEV.
Sorry. Try again.
Try again.
The Mitsubishi. What now?
What? i-MiEV?
No, the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. You're behind times. It's no longer called an i-MiEV. The Mitsubishi i.
Wow.
Because apparently Americans cannot cope with i-MiEV.
Well, there you go. I've been living in America for a long time. I can't cope with it.
Well, apparently, it's going to be sold as the i-MiEV in Europe and sold in Japan as the i-MiEV because Japan still makes the i, which is the gasoline-powered version. You with me? So in Japan, the Mitsubishi i is a gas-powered car. So they make the i-MiEV, which is the electric, the Mitsubishi Innovative Electric Vehicle. That's where it comes from. MI.
Oh, is that what it stands for?
Mitsubishi Innovative Electric Vehicle.
I just thought it was somebody on the keyboard who just kept pressing buttons.
So the Mitsubishi Innovative Electric Vehicle I in Japan. And then in Europe, I think it's going to be sold as the i-MiEV, even though you can't get the i anymore. They did sell the i for a while, and now they don't. And then in the States, they're just going to call it the i, which is going to be a bigger car, and it's going to be a different shape, and it's going to have different specs to all of the other models. I mean, is it
actually bigger, or has it just got bigger, bits around the wheels?
No, the wheelbase is wider.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But they've now sold, apparently, 5,000 Mitsubishi i's, or i-MiEVs, in Japan. Which puts them ahead of Think for now. Someone earlier on in the week said, but GM have sold more electric cars than anyone else. And but they're not really highway capable, are they? They don't really count.
Compared to Tesla's 1,400, that's a big number, isn't it?
Well, no. I mean, that's how many Toyota Priuses they make in a week or sell in a week.
Yeah, okay, I guess it's not a huge number globally, but it's good to know.
Anyway, on to other things. I'm just writing something down on my notes so I don't forget. Motor Trend fights back at Mr. Rush Limbaugh. So he's Mr. Limbaugh is upset that the Chevy Volt has been awarded all these awards, and Motor Trend has fought back by writing a funny article about Mr. Limbaugh. Our credibility, Mr. Limbaugh, this is a quote in it. Our credibility, Mr. Limbaugh, comes from actually driving and testing virtually every new car sold, and from doing this once a year with the all new or significantly improved models all at the same time. We test, make judgments, and write about the things we understand. Read the post. If you can stop shilling your favourite political party long enough to go for a drive, you might really enjoy the Chevy Volt. I'm sure GM would be happy to lend you one for next weekend. Just remember, driving and Oxycontin don't mix. That was Motor Trend's response to Rush Limbaugh's criticism that they had awarded Car of the Year to the Chevy Volt.
Now that's just Motor Trend's Car of the Year.
Yeah. Over in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
Guess who won?
Somebody much more deserving.
You think?
Yeah,
You think they're much more
do.
deserving? Now,
Yeah, well,
is this where we put a
actually.
disclaimer out and go, well, look, we've both reserved one?
Yeah, I guess we have to do,
Yeah,
don't we,
we
right?
do. Okay, so the Nissan Leaf,
Just move
congratulations. They
towards.
won the 2011 European Car of the Year title, which the Prius won in 2003 and 2004, I think. So, or 4 and 5. So, think of where the Prius is now. Second generation
Right.
Prius won it in 2004,
And
2005.
yeah, as great as it is, if you look at the past history of European Car of the Year, there really are some dodgy motors in that list.
Go on.
Renault Safran, remember that? Yeah, had one of those. It broke down about once every 2 to 3 weeks.
No
it was
way.
this fun. Oh yes, way. It's the show is way too short for me to list out the problems that I had with that car. Disaster. But there's been some good cars on. I mean, I was a fan of the Fiat Brava, but it was never a sort of a huge sales success.
No, I didn't like the Fiat Brava.
That was one of the car of the years, and the Panda. Panda was great. If riding around in an empty tin was your kind of thing.
Yep.
Back in the early days.
Yep.
So I don't know, but I think it's great that it's an all electric car, and I loved.
It is, and it's good news.
Yeah, and I loved Quentin Wilson's comments about the win. I thought that was fantastic. He was on air, sort of urging everybody really just to get out there and try one. Just get behind the wheel before you have anything to say about electric cars. Get yourself behind the wheel, try one out, and then come back and let me know what you think. And he said that in his experience of running around in the Mitsubishi i, that everyone who's been in it, is sort of got out and gone, wow, that's not what I expected.
Guess what I got through my email this week?
Something to do with getting hold of a Leaf, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm going to try and say this without letting my email addresses go out. Let's see if I can do this. There you go. See if I can zoom that. Nope.
Choose
your Leaf. Choose your Leaf dealer. So I'm going to get rid of my email there quickly. Can't want you reading my email.
You can edit that in post.
I can edit that in post. I've been offered the chance to choose my dealer. Nissan UK launch their dealer network, 24 dealers throughout the UK, and I got to choose the dealer that I wanted. This is the really funny thing, and I don't know if I'm responsible for this. Do you remember, probably about 6 months ago now, I went incognito into our local Nissan garage in Bristol and asked about the Nissan Leaf. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and how was that? How was the reception to that question?
They gave me a cock and bull story about the Nissan Leaf, about how it would recharge in 10 minutes, how it was going to be really expensive, how they were only really making them because the government were making them do it, how there was no chance I was ever going to get one, etc., etc., etc. And
was that the one I read about in the local newspaper? EV activist punches car salesman.
Not quite, oh. But anyway. So we got to this point where I wrote this article up, and Nissan, bless them, Nissan. I have never been contacted by a car company so quickly. Seriously, I think it was less than half an hour between the post going up online and having a phone call, and it was
good
to my mobile phone.
Wow.
Hello, this is Nissan PR. We need to talk.
Power to the people.
We had a little chat, and it's they've been great about it, and they've been very helpful, and explained to me that they hadn't explained to their dealers how to do it, but that obviously my little experiment was welcome because it illustrated that they needed to talk to all the dealers to make sure that their dealers didn't give them cock and bull stories to all the customers. So
fantastic
in the UK, they've appointed 25 dealers, and of those, even though I live in a city of about a million people, they haven't got a dealer in my city. There's one 40 miles away from me, down in Wincanton, and one over in Cardiff. So I've chosen the one in Cardiff.
Okay.
And I should be getting my car. I've been asked to choose my dealer and my colour, and I switched it from sky blue to forced red because I decided I like forced red better. And it's all set, and I should be getting the car hopefully sometime in Q1 2011. So what's that?
Wow,
March?
That's not far away.
March,
3 months, 3-4 months, right?
Yep.
Tops. Okay, so add another month for enthusiasm, for exuberance.
Yep.
And you could be driving it before summer. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Did they ask for more money from you, or are you still with the sort of 99? Well,
Sorry,
$99, wasn't it?
$99. Are you sorry? 19? Did you not hear? Do you
Mhm.
want to know what the reservation was in the UK?
Go on.
It wasn't $99. Wasn't even £99.
Right. $156.61.
No. It was much higher than that.
Really?
My reservation was $400.
Okay, that's a lot more.
Yes,
Wonder
it
why.
was.
$400 or £400?
$400. £257.
Interesting.
$400 for my car.
Yeah, Nissan have 99 of my dollars, but they told me that I won't get to see a Leaf until next winter, basically, in my area. But I haven't even been invited to have a test drive in one.
That's a bit of a shame.
I'm a
Now, you
Leaf
see, they said
virgin.
in the letter, and I've been accused of, oh, they're treating you like that because you're, an EV person. Look, I signed up just like everyone else. I went online. The website was a bit, waiting for everyone to sign on.
Mhm.
I'm 146 in the UK. I'm the 146th person to order a Leaf, I think. Or either that or there's 46th. Can't remember which. And, I've ordered my Leaf. I've waited in line with everyone else. Yes, I flew to Portugal. Yes, Nissan paid for me to fly to Portugal with all the other automotive journalists in the UK and Europe to
Very
test
cool.
drive the Leaf. I wasn't getting treated specially there because all the other automotive journalists in the UK were going as well. So no special treatment there. They haven't, given me any extra time with the car other than what my job would give me. And if they ask me to have a test drive, come and have a test drive when the Nissan Leaf Touron is on, I will probably still go. Not for myself, but my wife, because she hasn't driven one yet. So I'll let her go.
Check it out.
She can drive it. So yeah, please don't give me a hard time. I'm not being treated specially.
And you got to try a finished product as well, I guess. The one in Portugal.
Yeah, it was one of their production line test vehicles. One of the ones that they do a run of so many vehicles which become press vehicles and demonstrators. They're not actual finished production vehicles, but they're as near as damn it, and they're the ones that come off the production line.
Which they're going to crush.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was a brilliant headline that Nissan will crush their Leaf EVs. And I thought, what? That's insane. But apparently it's all to do with safety testing and
it's all to do with
they're
safety
not.
testing. It's all to do with insurance. And look, if they have to do that, fair enough. Okay, let's finish with Plug in America.
Yeah, I've got another. They've let go one of their PSAs.
Another one. PSAs.
Great.
I'm just going to see. Should we see if we can find it and watch it?
Yeah, I should definitely have it in the show notes.
Here we go. I'm sure they won't mind because they asked me about would I put it on the show. So this is their PSA advert. And it's got some very well-known faces, let's put it like that.
Mm.
It's all about the green image of gasoline versus Fabio.
Who is that guy?
So
I still think it's ironic that the gasoline guy is actually the electric enthusiast and has been driving electric cars for the last 10 years.
Yes. Well.
Yeah.
I'll have to download that video and actually put it in the stream. I'll talk to Plug in America and see if we can do that before the end of the show.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be happy to do it.
So that is, I think, pretty much it for today's show. We've been going for an hour, haven't we? Coming up on an hour.
Least. Yeah.
Yeah, coming up on an hour. Thanks to everyone in the chat room. There are lots of people chatting today. Do you like that? Do you like this new time, everyone? Is this a better time for you to watch the show? I'm waiting for the response now.
Yes, there's John.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, well, we'll have to try and do it a bit earlier. It's a bit easier for me as well. Thank you very much, Michael. People can find you at michaelswade.me, can't they? Are you there? Oh, he's gone.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
No. Did you knock a cable?
Was that me that went?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No.
So I was just going to say, are you at michaelthwaite.me still?
Yes, I am. Find me at michaelthwaite.me. I need to revise that page. It's all a bit crazy. But yeah, you'll find some links to Tesla Motors Club and some other stuff that we do. It's great.
And I'm trying to sort out a Tesla cold weather testing. Proper cold weather. Because people have complained that my little cold weather experiment was not cold enough. Ergo, I'm in the process of arranging a real cold weather testing experiment. So watch this space, and then not have it not said that I do not listen to what people say. Thank you for watching and listening at home. Don't forget that we are now on YouTube. You can find us by going to youtube.com and then by typing in A Minor Journey. I'm doing that right now. And you will see in that window, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I don't know why I say unfortunately, because it's my website. It's my personal, not my personal YouTube channel, but it's one of the YouTube channels that I am involved with. And for some reason, YouTube have this bizarre, slightly quixotic attitude to YouTube distribution. In order to become a producer, you have to have lots of people watch your videos. In order to have lots of videos, i.e. like Transport Evolved, they have to be less than 10 minutes. And once you've got a lot of uploads there, and once people are watching those, then you can apply to become a producer, and that means you can then upload 1.5 hour videos or 1 hour videos. This is what we do. I was already a producer independently. I tried to set up 2 new accounts, one for Transport Evolved and one for This Week in Energy, and YouTube keep rejecting them because they say we haven't got any viewers. So if someone knows how to get around that little paradox, let me know, and then I'll actually put them up on a separate channel. And of course, you can also find us by pointing your browser at www.transportevolved.com. And there you will find all the links to all the shows and everything else. In fact, look, that's last week's episode. EPA even, which was last week's episode with the wonderful Kevin Sharp and some strange chap called Michael Thwaite.
Who that guy is.
But you can watch and subscribe and listen, and do tell your friends about us, because the more people who watch us, the more viewers we get, the more sponsorship we get, which means the better quality we can make the shows, because the more equipment we can buy. We can actually make use of this green screen behind me without actually just a green screen at the moment. We can have the equipment to make it look better, and it'll all make things nicer. That really is it for today's show. Thank you to Steve over at graphicspark.com. Thank you for watching and listening. And of course, I will see you next week. And in between now and then, don't forget to drive green. See you soon, folks. Take care. Bye.